Welcome to Evolve, where we are embracing progression and expansion. Now, here's your host, Henry
All
Harris.
right.
Welcome to Evolve. I am so delighted that you are tuning in tonight. Make sure you tell a friend to tune in because we have a special treat for you tonight. And we're going to go right ahead and jump right into it. Our special guest is Dr. Dorothy W. Parker. It's such an honor to have her
Thank you.
on the show uh, tonight. And she wrote a book called Merge, a cosmic story of love. That just flows like very like beautifully. She's
Thank
she's
you.
holding she's holding it up right there. So that's what we're going to talk to her tonight about. And it's such an honor to have her on the show. Dr. Parker, how are you doing?
I'm doing so well, Henry. I thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of the unfolding of Evolve. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, you're supposed to be here, so I'm so glad that you're here. And thank you for
Thank
taking the opportunity to come on. And I'm excited about your book. I'm going to be ordering my copy of the book.
Yes, sir.
I just love that name, Merge. It's
Yeah.
like a cosmic story of love. What inspired you to write this book?
I personally went through a love evolution myself because growing up, when we grow up in religion, we have a lot of conditioning that we go through that kind of pulls us away from loving ourselves because we're told everything negative about ourselves. We're sinners. We're not good enough. We're living in the
Hmm.
flesh. This body is not holy. And so I grew up with the scar of religion in my heart. I found it difficult to actually love myself. And over the past year, I went through this I call it a spiritual initiation through consciousness. I am an extremely cosmic being. And so a lot of my experience are very esoteric. And I went through this process where I had to find love for myself, and it was such a deep work on my shadows and all those places in me that were dark, that did not
Hmm.
could not reach out for love, couldn't even trust anyone to love. And then one day I had this spiritual experience and I fell deeply in love with myself. When I say deeply, I mean I love myself so much that I put myself before everything and everybody, because I know the only way that I can give love is I have to be love. And the
Hmm.
only way to be love is to fall in love with myself. And so I did. And I could tell you to this day, there's no greater love than the love that I have for who I am. And I'm a divine being. I know that I have the divine seed in me, and that makes me worthy of love. And that's how I got the merge. And the story just unfolded. I mix reality with fantasy.
Well, I like that. You talked about how a lot of people within that religious framework of
Yeah,
denying yourself, somehow suppressing yourself and who you are. It's
yeah,
very rare that we ever hear people such as yourself saying, "I love me. I'm looking inside of me. Like
yeah,
I am that cosmic love
yeah,
story." I think that's a weird. I've never heard it that way before. I've heard people talk about it and stuff, but not in the way that how you are expounding on it. So I really like that because
thank
sometimes
you.
within religious circles, it teaches you to pretty much to deny that part of you. And
Yes,
I love Jesus like everybody else. I love
yeah,
God, source,
yeah,
spirit, whatever people want to call it. But I can't dedicate my life to whatever that is if whatever that is wants me to pretty much suppress who I am. Like
Exactly.
there's nothing wrong with me living out of love, and I think overall that should be our identity. So I really
Yeah.
like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I think I just wanted to piggyback off you just a little bit because I think religion has distorted who we are and
Hmm.
has made our divinity very hostile to us. And
Hmm.
so we fight within ourselves just to be accepted, even to the divine spirit, whatever, we label it, to the universe. We fight so hard to make ourselves worthy. And in that fighting, what we do is we fragment ourselves. And because we're so fragmented,
Hmm.
it takes so much to pull us together to even make ourselves worthy. But I've learned to love every part of me. When I say every part, I mean, I don't care what shows up inside of Dorothy. I love it because we're all on this spectrum of love and hate. And I want to be on the highest level of that spectrum when it comes to who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that's amazing. So
Yeah.
um, when I think of the word merge, I think of what's coming to my mind is like when you're on the interstate
Yeah.
and let's say you have to merge on like out
Right.
there. So when you say merge, what exactly does that mean? Are you talking about like moving around, navigating through things? I mean, what does that actually mean, merge to you in
Well,
relation to your book?
in this book, there's a young man named Ellis who goes through an NDE. He's in a car crash, and he has this NDE experience. And while he's in this in between space, he comes in contact with this higher ascended being, and a part of him just falls in love with her, and
Hmm.
it becomes such a passionate drive inside of him that when he awakens from the NDE, all he can remember is the word she said to him, find me. And so he goes throughout this process of going through astral projection, going through all different types of ways of trying to get back into that in between space without literally dying. And
Hmm.
he has many travels in and out and in his dreams. But what happens is, and I really don't want to give away the punchline, but but the merge happens because he finds out that the very thing that he was falling so passionately in love with was his higher self, and the
Wow.
story begins to unfold from there. And it starts to unravel all of the places in his life where he fought love, where he found, where he decided that he wasn't worthy of love, or that he didn't have the capacity to handle love. And as the story unfolds, you'll find that he finally merges himself with the very being that he fell in love with. So that is the merge, falling in love with yourself and finding that all of you is worthy of love. Yeah,
Yeah. You mentioned a cosmic story of love.
yeah.
Um, what is that? What is that story?
The story is that we are all connected to the universe,
Hmm.
regardless of what we think about it or know about it. We know that, based on quantum physics, we know that biology, we know that cosmology, all of that affects us as human beings. And we know that if the cosmos, which is this space that's out there, the universe, if any parts of that was to get off just by a hair of a second, it would affect all of humanity. It would
Hmm.
affect the planet that we live on. And so we are cosmic beings. We are made of cosmic dust. And our biology is connected to the sun and the moon and the stars. And so this cosmology that we're in allows us to see the divine in a much larger perspective when we take off the lens of religion and come out
Hmm.
from under that religious canopy that we're under, and that we grow up under. So cosmology basically it peels back all of the limitations of what we call the divine. And we just kind of grow with the universe. We grow with this reality that we're bigger than who man says we are. Science says we are. So
So
that's the cosmology.
that's awesome. So
Mhm.
what is your overall message you're trying to express in this book? Like what would be the takeaway
The
that you want people?
takeaway, right. I think the biggest takeaway for this book remains in the space of reflecting on why it is that we are so fragmented and separated from ourselves. Why do we have so much trouble connecting and even merging ourselves with our divine nature? Why do we fight? Why do our relationships break and fragment so much? And I believe it's because there is this breaking and fragmentation in us. And when we learn to love ourselves holistically, body, soul, spirit, every part of us, and I mean the ugly parts, the part of us that showed up when we couldn't show up for ourselves. You know how
Hmm.
people get depressed. I see depression as a companion. It's protecting us from something. The times that we're angry, it's because we cannot express what we truly feel. So to me, anger is not negative. It's how it preserves us in the moment. And so I've just learned to merge every part of me, every part of my reality that makes me who I am. I merge that and I fall in love with myself at every interval of my experience. Yeah.
So I'm an author. I've wrote 3 books. I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
be working on a 4th one here
Yeah.
soon. I'm only saying this because when I do allow people to interview me, which is very rare,
Uh,
typically I'll do TV interviews.
I understand.
Sometimes they'll ask that question, Henry, what's your favorite chapter? And I'm like, why did you ask me that? Like, why would you ask what my favorite? It's all my favorite. So I
Right.
guess I only said that to say I want to ask you that question. Like, is
Yeah.
there a particular chapter that I mean, I'm sure the whole book is good. I'm looking forward to reading it. But is there a
Yeah.
particular chapter that like you just really went in on, like that's really good to you?
Yeah, there's a couple. I need to say this too, that this book is only part one.
Oh, oh,
There's a
okay.
second part that's in process now called The Call. And that is after Elias finally merges himself into this one loving person, and his capacity gets large enough for him to be able to receive other people's love now. Then he has to handle the call of how to elevate humanity from that
Mm-hmm.
place. One of my favorite chapters, I'm going to say, would be chapter 25, and that is the one who feared love. And so in this book, I talk about all the stages because Elias is not by himself. He has
Mm-hmm.
a sister and he has a girlfriend. And at a point in their relationship, he could not handle the capacity of love that she was giving him. And he was so afraid of himself that he couldn't even receive love. But then what happened is, as he began to awaken to himself, then he opened himself up to her. And she said, "You know what? I think you see me now." And he said, "No, I don't see you. I can feel you." And so I think a lot of times we can't even feel love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So and I just want to mention this, that this came from that. This is another book that I wrote called The Selfish Guide. And this
Mm.
teaches us how to be selfish, how even Jesus was selfish. All of the
Yep.
master teachers were selfish. They had such a selfishness that it took them straight to their destiny. And
Yeah.
everything and every person that got in the way, they was like, no, this is what I'm here for. So these are all basically kind of piggyback, but chapter 25 is my favorite chapter. Now there's
I,
another one where the love gets pretty steamy, but
I
chapter 25 is my favorite.
I just think this. I just think this is going to be a very powerful book. I want to
Yeah.
ask you this question. I don't have it written down. I just wanted to ask you this: where where do you go when you write? And I'm not talking about like location wise, because
Okay.
what you're sharing is like very deep. Like,
Yeah.
do you go within? Like, you can't make this stuff up. It's like it so resonates with me what you're saying. It's gonna
Yeah.
resonate with so many people too who think they can't merge, who think
Yeah.
that they are not capable of being loved. Like,
Yeah.
so when you're writing and as an author, like, what space do you go to, like in your mind or your spirit being?
Well, a lot of times I am what I would consider myself to be like this mystic cave woman.
Hmm.
I stay in this space of constantly availing myself to spirit to be open to experiences. And what I've learned is that all of the things that I write about are actual experiences.
Hmm.
But they're just not things that's happening in my head. They're things that's happening in my body. There had to come a time where my spirit was able to merge with my body to filter these messages through. Because, I'm going to say I stay in my head. I live up here. Most people that know me know that I am mystical. I'm metaphorical. I'm philosophical. I have a doctor's degree in philosophy. Um,
Hey, hey.
and I have a master's in psychology and sociology. So all of these things kind of keep you in your head, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a single woman, have been for a long time. So my
Hmm.
house is conducive for writing. So I'm writing 24 hours a day. I have books in my coffer that probably will never be published.
That's good. I feel like when I write, I feel like I just get lost. Like, I remember one time when I was writing Dead End, that was my recent book that released this year.
Yeah.
Um, when I was writing, someone had messaged me and said, Henry, it's been like 5 hours now. Like, do you find yourself getting lost in time? Like, it's so good. It's like I can't stop. But then again, there's a balance that comes with that too. You know when to stop. But it's like you
Mhm.
get so lost in it. It's like this information just starts pouring in you, and and I'm just sitting there just typing, and then you
Yeah.
say stuff, and it's like there ain't no way Henry Harris would have came up with that at all.
Right. Right. Right.
Do you ever go back and read your work and be like, I
I
said
do.
that?
I do. Every matter of fact, every book that I've published, and I probably have about 7 books on Amazon now.
Oh,
And
wow.
every one of the books that I publish, I've read at least 4 or 5 times. Because at each time, at each editing space, I reread the book and I reread it. And if it doesn't feel right to me, I'm not publishing it. I
Yeah.
literally have to feel connected to what I write. So I actually am a supportive writing coach, and I teach people how to write from consciousness. That means
Hmm.
to pay attention, write with intention, right?
Hmm.
Write with the right vibration, write with the right frequency and the right energy. Don't write out of anger. Don't write out of these places that are dark, because that's what your audience is going to pick up, because
Yeah.
we're energetic beings, right? So I'm always writing from this very deep, authentic place. And I could be locked in a house for days, Henry. I'm
Mhm.
saying days. I maybe not eat. I sleep maybe a few hours, and I'm up writing it. I'm possessed by writing,
That's good.
literally.
Well, I think you do a great job. So, I have a couple more questions.
Yeah,
So, to those who haven't experienced love,
yeah,
how would this book benefit them? They're like, I've never experienced love. I don't know what it's like to be loved.
yeah.
You're talking about Merge, the cosmic story of love.
Right.
How will this book how will this book connect with someone who's like, I don't even know what love is. I've heard about it, never experienced it for myself.
Yeah. So a person like that, and I counsel people and coach people in this area. One of the things that I find when people ask that question, I've never felt love. I can't experience love. Love seems just so fantasy and out of touch. It's because they don't know who they are.
Woo.
And when
There you go.
you know what I'm saying? When you don't know who you are, how do you know how to give yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in order to love somebody, you have to love who you are first. Love is not something that you receive, it's a frequency and an energy that you put out. And
Mm-hmm.
those that are love themselves are going to pick up on that energy and that vibration. So, my first step for anybody who's questioning their incapacity to love is, how much do you know about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? Because that's what's blocking the frequency of love from coming in your life.
Wow, look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, to those who read this book, what would the last question is? What would be the takeaway? Like, after I read it, like, what would you want the audience to take away from reading your book?
I think it's the theme that really rides through this book is that love is a frequency that you give out,
Mm-hmm.
and it permeates every aspect of your life, who you are, who you relate to, the call that you have on your life. If none of this is permeating through you through love, then what's going to happen is everything that you do is going to have some fragmentation to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so the greatest call for me is transformation. That's why I call myself a transformation specialist and a thought leader, because I am here to help people evolve, to help people transform. And in doing that, I'm always confined to this thought: who are you? And who
Mm-hmm.
told you that?
Wow, this was such a profound interview. Thank you, Dr. Dorothy Parker, for taking this time to come on Evolve to talk
Yeah.
about your book. I really believe it's going to be helpful to so many people. Before we say good night, I want to present these three questions based off of the interview. Number one, this is for our audience.
Uh-huh.
Is it possible to love others if you haven't experienced love yourself?
No.
Number two, make sure you put your comment. Make sure you put your comment in the comment section to
Yeah.
those our audience who are answering these questions. Number two, is it possible to merge when you feel unloved? And
No.
number three, when did the love of God became real to you, or the universe? Whatever that love is? When did that become real to you inside of you? So make sure you answer. Those, you were answering some. I never had a guest answer.
I was getting ready to
That's
answer number
okay.
three, but
That's okay too. I thought that was funny, but make sure you answer those questions. I want to encourage everyone to connect with us and get involved. YouTube.com, Henry Harris 100. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on Soul TV. They have millions of followers over there. I'm glad to be on that platform. Been friends with them for years. You can also
beautiful.
follow us on the Broad Henry Youth Show page on Facebook.com as
Yes.
well. We want to encourage you to order her book. Her book is on Amazon. Merge the A Cosmic Story of Love. She's
Yeah.
holding it up right there. You can also connect with her at www.pathwaytoreligiousdeconstruction.com. And
Yes.
I don't think you'll be disappointed. She was being an author, it's like you don't want to give it away. It's like, and as you was kind of getting into that story, me, I was like, I want more, I want more. Well, if you're that type of person, it's like, did she just really just stop? She didn't give me more. Well, just take this as a teaser. There
Yes.
is more, but you have to buy it. So make sure make sure you go order that book. And and I really hope that everyone have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week.